Well, it's, we probably could have submitted a written report and included that in the discussion today, since I don't have anything in the agenda packet with a written report. I can summarize that we've got a huge amount going on with both projects and personnel within the district, and those are the things that are really consuming all of our resources. The fact that we are short on personnel is a big concern, and we, although we do have an advertisement on the street for the position that was approved at discussed at the prior two meetings and approved at the last board meeting. It's in reality, it's a little too late. It's hard to get somebody who's gainfully employed to make the move, because it's not that our salary or benefits or work environment are so much more desirable than the other agencies around us that everybody's looking to jump and move. You've got a huge amount of people at the top of their pay and at the top of their career, at the end of their career, retiring out. And you've got a huge amount of people at the top of their pay and at the top of their career, at the end of their career, retiring out. And then you've got a lot of inexperienced people moving in. People in the middle are in high demand with the experience, and we're finding that it's difficult to get people to just jump. I've been making contact with everybody that I am aware of in the area that might have the ability to even operate our system on a part-time temporary basis to help out, because again, we've got one person out in the lead position, and that we don't know when that return is going to be. We've got one grade 1 operator who's operating under the operator in charge is Brenda Selvin, but she's not wanting to continue that function. That's something that she's been trying to get out of for a long period of time, and she's not in here operating the plant. She's just available to deal with the questions that come up as there are concerns with the operation or concerns with anything out in the system. And even contractors. I've contacted 2 different contractors out of Sacramento that provide utility services and have not been able to even get a proposal from them yet. I don't know whether they're going to be able to do it, because they're having trouble tooling up themselves to be able to have enough people to fill the spots because the position is in high demand. So anyway, it's been tough. I mean, we're advertising for the operations manager position, but we're also going to have an opening at the bottom of the charts here in a couple weeks. So I want to let you know we're going to be down to one person. And it's not like I've got this magic list of people that I could just draw from. There are tens of thousands of operators throughout the state, but it's not that they'll just walk from their job to come here and take call, you know. So unfortunately, it's been a situation where the past generation of operators did not become. Didn't stick with us, or didn't stay certified, or we're advertising for the operations manager position, but we're also going to have an opening at the bottom of the charts here in a couple weeks. So I want to let you know we're going to be down to one person, and it's not like I've got this magic list of people that I could just draw from. There are tens of thousands of operators throughout the state, but it's not that they'll just walk from their job to come here and take call, you know. So unfortunately, it's been a situation where the past generation of operators did not become, didn't stick with us or didn't stay certified, or had personal issues or medical issues and couldn't stay with the district. So anyway, we're having a tough time, and that is priority number one. And because our permit requires certain things, and we've got to have somebody available to respond, I've got to treat it any way that I have to make sure that we can get that done. I'm not changing any positions. I don't have anybody ready to hire. Like I said, I can't even get calls back from contractors. So, but I'll let you know just as soon as things square around there. I did receive a letter requesting a number of items on the agenda, primarily related to mapping and groundwater and some other things. And I do have to apologize that the priorities of the district have been with the staffing and with our infrastructure issues, some of which we'll talk about today. And I did not respond back yet to that letter. If it were requesting items that were of immediate concern and took priority over the top of those other items, then I would have dealt with that. So I will continue to keep that in mind, and we expect to have some information on the maps fairly soon. You'd authorize the contract with California CAD Solutions, and they're working through that data now to be able to plug that in. A couple of the things we had, we did receive and sign the agreement with USDA. I believe it happened after the last board meeting. I think the board meeting was on Monday, and I met with them on Wednesday. That was a big feat in and of itself, because they can't issue the grant agreement until we've met all of the conditions in the letter of conditions. And that letter of conditions has been out there for 18 months or so. And we have been working to get all of the information that USDA has requested, and every time we submit a package that might be 6 inches thick, they request another package. We submitted the grant agreement allows us to, as soon as we have an approved reimbursement request, it allows them to be able to issue the funds electronically. Okay, so that's a good thing. It commits the money to the project. It's not subject to the budget reappropriation or anything right now. It's an agreement that they will fund the eligible project costs. So it's a matter of coming up with that reimbursement invoice to them that meets their needs specifically. They've been through, like I said, probably 12 inches of material from the file to be able, everything from contracts to contractor invoices to district policies to spreadsheets and reimbursement requests for other programs and everything else, packaged in 3 different ways. Most recently, they have asked, as of mid last week, for all of the invoices itemized for every expense associated with all of the wells, even the ones they're not funding. This is just a bunch more work, and they did that because they have received phone calls from people or a person that has said that the well water supply is being dedicated to other purposes, to fulfill other commitments for development and not used for emergency situations, and different things like related to the expenses associated with the wells. And so they're making sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed, which is fine. I mean, we've got the information. It's just a matter of, to package it the exact way that they want it is costing a lot of money, because it's not just me. I mean, I'm looking it over for what Mike Vasquez and his team are putting together. And that's the reason that this project just keeps on going.
So the grant agreement, I heard you say, is signed.
Yes.
And so once we meet or comply with their data request. Then, since we moved the bar a little bit further, it is signed, and now we have to meet this data request for them to review it. And then once they're comfortable, then they can transfer funds. Is that what I heard? I want to make sure I understood that.
Yes, it's a reimbursement request. In other words, we're submitting to them a request for them to give us funds for expenses that we've already incurred.
Okay.
And traditionally, they have in their public works contracting requirements, there are certain processes, federal government paperwork processes that are followed along the way for them to stay lockstep with you from the beginning to the end of a project. And meanwhile, they're giving you reimbursements as you go along. You don't usually get to the end of it like this and then have to recreate it. But for the year that we were working on the wells, while USDA was involved, they were at every meeting, they were at every conference call, they were giving us information on what we were to include, and we did, but they weren't reviewing anything. And so they didn't have, and they kept telling us, until we get a letter of conditions out, we're not going to be able to talk about funding other than